The Mantis Thistle is a knife made completely by hand by Mantis Bladeworks, or Moss is his real name. And this shit's fucking wild. I will say that I accidentally stabbed my hand trying to do a Z choker, so I'm not gonna flip this too intensively. I'm mostly actually gonna hold this in my left hand. If you want to see me flip this knife, I did it in my unboxing. Here's the situation with this. This is the Thistle number 11. They're not actually numbered, but the thing is, each single knife that he makes is completely handmade, and so every knife is actually different. And he does actually kind of go out of his way to make them different, and so he has two types of knives. The first one is this one that I have right here, which is the Thistle. The Thistle has carbon fiber scales, whereas the Idolo is titanium slabs. I think they're all sandwiched, though. I do believe. I asked him about his process, and then he sent me 5 voice messages. So I'm going to do my best to kind of explain the situation. But essentially, he has an idea usually first with either a blade shape that he wants to try, or a combination of materials, if it's like a Damascus blade, like a full dress. And then he will, I guess, work on the blades, make the spacers, and then make the rest of the handles and like assemble it. I don't know about with carbon fiber handles. It might have just been with the Idolo, but essentially he like assembles it with like shit hardware and just kind of shapes it all together, and it puts it on the blade and actually like finishes the tang, and then I think he heat treats it to harden it. It was again like a bunch of messages. But yeah, I also didn't realize that carbon fiber just looks like this throughout the entire way. I wasn't sure if like G10 can be colored, and so if you see G10 in different colors because it's dyed, whereas carbon fiber as just a material has these sorts of colorings all the way through. I'm trying to show this off in the light but not have it refract. But yeah, this is all hand ground, so he doesn't use a CCC. He doesn't use any programming or any sort of machines. I think he just does it all in a belt grinder. So you see here that he has several faces. You have 1, 2, and 3 faces that all come together at this point. And he also makes these liners, I guess, by hand. I don't really understand how that all works, which is why I asked him about his creative process and how he makes these knives. So yeah, they're fucking wild. These are also carbon fiber spacers. Hilariously, maybe not so hilarious. So this one, maybe it was. Yeah, here it is. One of these scales is like actually a little cracked. You might be able to see it also slightly, like here. It's hard to show off. There it is. You can like kind of see it. Yeah, you can kind of see that crack there. And because these spacers are just kind of free sitting, they don't have a fastener. So whoopsies. I'm just gonna try and like, maybe not that one. Wow, what the fuck am I doing? I'm gonna just try and like push this spacer up a little bit. I don't know. It's mostly just held together by the tension. Whew. So yeah, he shapes these tangs as it's already assembled, I guess, and like he tunes it together, and it's kind of wild. I don't know if he shapes it all together. If he does shape the carbon fiber with the liners attached to it, I guess that would help make these edges really smooth, which it is. I was complaining earlier about how the Wraith kind of has like the feeling of like the inside channels can kind of feel rough when you're. It actually feels fine now. I don't know. Oh, he also has to drill the holes throughout the things in order to assemble it. And I think the logo is like one of the last things that goes on. This knife is bonkers. As a flipping experience, it's pretty good. It is a kukri, so it is tip heavy. Not in like a blade bias way, but like when you do rollovers, there's more weight in the blade than there is in the ends of the handles, which isn't too crazy. It does fan actually very nicely. Again, I'm trying not to go too hard because I have a hole in my hand. And it's just a beautiful knife. Personally, if I were to attempt to get a blade I would try to get a full dress, have like a Damascus steel blade with these handles, but I saw this one on the market for an insanely good price, and you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, or a thistle in the price tag, especially if it was as low as I saw it for. And so the thing is, there are some thistles and idolos, I guess, that are like sort of matching. I hope to one day own an idolo. They ring like crazy, and some of them have insane blades. Actually, some of the thistles have insane blades because this is one of like the sort of earlier ones. He's up in like the 20s now, I believe. This one is relatively tame as a design, but if you go to Mantis Bladeworks' Instagram, you can see all of the thistles and idolos that he's done, and they're each all fucking wild looking and crazy different. Yeah, there's some blade shapes that I've never seen on anything besides Mantis knives, and there are other makers who do handmade knives. Like JW in Poland and Dabruski and Siervo. Various people all make knives, but there's some blade shapes I've never seen from anyone besides Mantis. And because these are handmade knives that are, completely handmade. Oh, and also stitch steel. They're completely handmade knives. Handmade knives that are American cost $1,000 or more. I did not pay that much, thankfully, but a lot of times a Mantis knife can be well over 1,500. Some of them are in like the 2K range. It's bonkers. Like from what I know, Mantis mostly makes knives for himself, and then when he gets bored of them, he decides to sell it. But before he sells it, there's always a couple of people who are like privately DMing him saying like, "Oh, if you sell that knife, I'll buy it for X amount," and then someone else would be like, "Oh, I'll pay X more," and I guess there's just sort of like a silent auction effect. It's crazy, and so I don't know when or why he sells knives, but this is not his like full-time job. I know he has a day job, and so he makes these knives on the side for fun. And so when he does part with one, it's sort of like this. It's a moment. It's a moment, and how and who gets that knife, it really depends. That said, unless I get my hands on another Thistle, I'm keeping this for the foreseen future, just because I don't think I have any other handmade knives, and the Thistle and the Idolo were like the grail. I resigned myself to thinking I would never own one of these because I just thought it was just never going to be in the cards. It was just going to be way too expensive. I am not rich, despite what some people think. I'm just irresponsible with my spending. But yeah, I need sugar daddy dollars. So if you could check out the description, you can see the coffee where you can donate anywhere from like $1 to $3 to $5, even $10. And it helps me just keep this channel alive. It helps me with the overhead. I'm doing a partial trade right now, and so $10 just helps me ship one direction, let alone both ways. And so it's not like I'm actually like making money off these videos. I do this because I'm passionate, and I want to share to you why I find these knives so special. And someone else could even probably go into more detail about all the work, but like you can tell through the imperfections just from the spacers alone, just that this is a handmade knife, and it is beautiful, and it is just a work of art. Like, these knives are art. It also is a fun, dangerous fidget toy. Dangerous enough to put a hole in my hand. This one wasn't the one that stabbed me. But I want to say that, like, when you have knives that are handmade at this price range, yeah, it's fucking insanely expensive. But also, these are art. And I own this piece of art that also just happens to be both functional and fun. So that's kind of a thing. Anyways, if you like these videos, check out the rest of my channel. You can check out the video that I unboxed this. And yeah, subscribe and like this video. have fun flipping. Also, fuck bevel.